Hall. Look at Breece Hall in week 1. Look at Justin Fields in week 1. And now think about the way that Baltimore was able to run the ball on Buffalo. 160-plus yards for Derrick Henry, over 50 yards for Lamar Jackson, a rushing touchdown. I think everything that the Buffalo Bills are susceptible to defensively, we watched Justin Fields and Inkstrad do very well in week 1. And so to me, I think the Buffalo Bills have to be on high alert. Josh Allen has to play extremely well. Well, he has to be an MVP if they expect to come in and get that win.
Cam?
Now, upset alert, I don't necessarily know. But if the Baltimore Ravens fool around and lose this game, there is something to be said in Baltimore. So while you directing traffic over there to the NFL and sounding the alarms, when you send them to Cleveland, if the Baltimore Ravens lose this game, you also need to send them doggone to Baltimore as well, because this is the thing to consider. There's not a team in the NFL on paper that should even come close to beating the Baltimore Ravens. If the Baltimore Ravens find a way to lose this game and fall 0-2 to the Cleveland Browns, it's going to be hell to pay.
S.A.?
The easy answer to this question is the Buffalo Bills. They should be on upset alert. And for all the reasons that RC articulated in terms of the Jets and what we saw from them offensively, along with the fact what we saw the Buffalo Bills and how they were getting manhandled for 3.5 quarters. But the biggest reason is what we just finished talking about a few minutes ago. After Cleveland talked all that smack, we should have zero concerns of the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. Just like Cam talked about. There's nobody on paper that should be able to deal with the Baltimore Ravens. You had Lamar Jackson. You had Derrick Henry. You had Zay Flowers balling. You had that one-handed catch by Devontae Adams. You see all of this going on. Let me tell you, D-Hop, I'm sorry. DeAndre Hopkins, I'm sorry. D-Hop. The point that I'm trying to make to y'all is that they got all the requisite weapons. And then Cleveland, with their no offense having selves, still trying to look for a quarterback 3 years in and counting, you going to go out there and talk smack? And on the defensive side of the ball, it's not like their offense was saying, yo, man, Buffalo dropped 41 on them. We could drop 30. Oh, no. It was the defense of the Cleveland Browns that said, Lamar Jackson, so what? Derrick Henry, so what? Really? You should stomp them. You understand what I'm trying to say? They should be afraid to show the hell up. I'm telling you right now, the Baltimore Ravens should manhandle these brothers this weekend. Let's see what they do. I'm going with the Jets as the more favorable upset.
I will say this. If the Baltimore Ravens don't, there's an issue. There's an issue with feeling like you've already arrived. If the Baltimore Ravens don't come out and we don't see a higher level of physicality on the back end, whether it's Nate Wiggins, Jair Alexander, Awuzie, if we don't see those players play at a higher level, there's a problem. If Derrick Henry ain't running downhill, protecting the football, punishing second-level defenders, then there's an issue. But I'm not worried about the Baltimore Ravens. I know what the Baltimore Ravens are made of. I have history of what the Baltimore Ravens are made of. I know who their coach is. I know who their quarterback is. I know who their middle linebacker is, who their strong safety is, I know all of these players. And now it's on the Baltimore Ravens to remember that. When somebody like the Cleveland Browns talks about you in that way, there isn't something that you need to say. There's only things that you need to do. And the Baltimore Ravens have been doing that certain thing for over 2.5 decades. And I expect them to do it on Sunday.
Man, I've been trying to wrap my head around, like, why would the Cleveland Browns get to this particular point where they even feel the gall to speak on the Baltimore Ravens? And then you have to wrap your mind and say, they're not used to being in this position. Because typically later on in the season, they are what we call an irrelevant team. So while we could get our lick off or we could get our, grenade off and make some type of headline, let's go on and say it. But hold on. If they prove to be right, it's going to sound an alarm around the league to say, the Baltimore Ravens ain't who y'all thought they were, and they have been front runners in this particular element. When we all know that the Baltimore Ravens are the team that has more boom or bust than anyone.
S.A., final word here.
Listen, You know, the interesting part, I mean, I know it was close, but they still lost. I mean, you know you got some nerve, some unmitigated gall in you when you are talking smack and you winless on the season thus far. That's the Cleveland Browns. So one must ask themselves why. Could it be, Cam? Could it be, RC, that they're saying we went up against Burrow with Chase and Higgins and the crew, and we held them to 17 points. Could they be feeling themselves because of that? I don't know the answer to the question. I'm going to give the last word to you, RC. Could that be the reason?
Do you know who the Cleveland Browns defense plays the best against? Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's not just this year. It's every single year. When I sat with T. Higgins and at the time Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase, and they said, hey, you know what? When we play the Cleveland Browns, it's on site. It ain't never on site with people who you don't respect. It ain't never on site with people who you don't feel like could be a challenge, right? If I know I could walk into your house and be about my business, it ain't on site with you. I'll let you swing first. But the fact that when the Bengals go to Cleveland, it's always difficult. They ain't the same as the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Burrow sitting in the pocket and throwing go balls on Denzel Ward and throwing go balls on Greg Newsome. That ain't like going zone read. That ain't like Derrick Henry running downhill. That ain't Lamar in free open space. That ain't Zay Flowers with that iggy in every route. You have trouble against the Baltimore Ravens. And so to be talking, the only thing I will be saying is I respect what they've accomplished, but they got to come show me on Sunday, and I'll be there with my pads on. But what they talking about, you got to see about me. And I think the Baltimore Ravens going to make them.
All right, Ravens are favored by 11.5 in this one. My goodness. Coming up, after the Giants' dreadful Week 1 performance, could they actually give the Cowboys a run for their money on Sunday? Someone here says don't be surprised if they do.
It's going down, down, down. It's college game day, and we're coming to your city.
Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Sponsored jobs on Indeed are 2.5 times faster to first hire. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Man, this takes me back to the 2000s.